How's it going, everybody? Welcome back into another video, and today is my long-awaited, I am so excited to do this. We are ranking the MCU once again. I do this video a few times every year when new Marvel projects come out, and I'm going to be doing it a lot this year because we got a lot of great Marvel content coming out this year. But of course, you guys know WandaVision just hit its finale, and of course, we got to rank WandaVision with the MCU, don't we? So if you enjoy, please consider dropping a like, comment, and subscribe, and I really do appreciate it. We're not going to do really long reviews for these. We're going to, just kind of say briefly what I like or dislike and why it is where it is on the list. And I'm treating these series like movies. So they're going to go in the regular MCU ranking. I'm treating them like long movies. I talked about this in my review of WandaVision. Go check that out if you have not already. And yes, that's how it's going to work. We're not going to have a separate ranking of the TV shows. They are going to go in the regular MCU ranking because it's an MCU project. So that is how we're doing it. And I think without further ado, let's just hop into it. So coming in number 24 is The Incredible Hulk. You guys know this is my least favorite film. It literally could potentially probably be retconned from the MCU and it wouldn't matter. Now, I know that is coming, that's going to change with She-Hulk, with Abomination coming back, and I believe Liv Tyler's coming back in her character as well. So that could change, but for now, it's very forgettable. The action's okay, but I don't love it, and Edward Norton and Liv Tyler have bad chemistry, and this movie to me is a mess. I do not enjoy it. I have to watch it when I do rewatches because it's part of the MCU, but I don't really ever enjoy it, and it comes at number 24 on my list. Coming in at number 23 is Thor: The Dark World, another one that main real consensus overall is that it's one of the worst, if not the worst, movies in the MCU. It's boring. Malekith is a boring villain. There's not great moments. The only okay moment is Loki's death, but we all know he comes back anyway, so it doesn't really pack a punch at all. You've got some Reality Stone action and a little bit of world building, but that's kind of as far as it goes. And I don't enjoy this one either. So that's where I stand on it, and it comes in at number 23 on the list. Coming in number 22 is Iron Man 2, and this pains me because I love Iron Man, and I love aspects of this, especially Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer. God, I hope he comes back for Armor Wars or something, because he is one of my favorite characters in the entirety of the MCU, but it's a very muddled, messy film with a lot of plot points, and it's just very overwhelming, and you could tell that they didn't have enough time to fully get the script together. Apparently, Favreau wanted 3 years. They only gave him 2. Didn't have enough time to get it all done, so they rushed it, and that makes a lot of sense. There are some nice concepts that I don't think truly come to fruition, and it's a sour apple, man. It comes at number 22 on my list. Coming in number 21 is Thor. I enjoy aspects of this, but it is still one of the more forgettable films for me. I'm not the biggest fan of Jane Foster's character, especially in this film. You've got, cool action with Thor. I think it's an okay origin story, but overall, it's just kind of forgettable for me, and I just don't really enjoy it. And it comes in number 21 on my list. Now, from 20 on up, I enjoy. And I kind of enjoy Thor as well, but from 20 up, I can say I pretty much enjoy all of these projects, and let's just hop into it. Coming in at number 20 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, there are things I don't love about this film. I think it uses jokes more than it should. It kills heartfelt moments with jokes. It really, really tried to be funny. And it works sometimes, but a lot of times it didn't. I think Ego is an interesting villain, but I don't think his story is really brought out to fruition that well. But you've got some nice moments with the team. I don't like how they split up, though. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but whatever. But Yondu's death is one of the most impactful moments in all of the MCU. It hits the feels, and for that, comes at number 20 on my list. Coming at number 19 is Ant-Man. Now, I know that these are low, but remember, from 20 on up, I tend to really enjoy them. 19's Ant-Man. I think it is a very fun, funny origin story. I love the action between Scott Lang and Sam Wilson. I think that's fantastic. Now, the thing I don't like is the villain, Yellow Jacket. It is a clear and cut ripoff from Obadiah Stane and Iron Man. It didn't feel very original. So that kind of took me out of it. I didn't love that at all, but it is a funny movie that has some funny things that happen, and it is okay. And it comes in at number 19 on my list. Coming in at number 18 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. This one goes a little bit further for me due to the fact that, one, it's got a post-credit scene that goes directly into Infinity War. I know, that's cheating a little bit, but it is the perfect palate cleanser after Infinity War. It's got a nice story. I like Ghost as a villain. I think she's very compelling. She's got a nice story because she's not really a villain. She just wants to get better, and I really like that. I love the quantum realm aspects, and it's just a step up from the original. You've got Hope Van Dyne as the Wasp. They have a great dynamic. I enjoyed this one, and it comes in at number 18 on my list. Coming in at number 17 is Captain Marvel. Now, before anyone in the comments wants to bash me for saying I relatively enjoyed Captain Marvel, just don't. Because I relatively enjoyed Captain Marvel. I think Brie Larson is pretty good in the role. I like her in the role. I love the 1991 backdrop. I thought that was original. I thought that was fun. I love the action between her and the Skrulls. Everything with Nick Fury and Coulson, I think, is fantastic, and it's a fun origin story. That's really what it is. What I don't love is the turn of Jude Law. I didn't really like his villain. I thought the Skrulls were a more compelling villain, but I understand the way that they took it, so I'm not gonna mark it that far off because of that. But in the end, it's a run-of-the-mill, pretty good movie that I enjoyed. So if you want to hate me in the comments, you can hate me in the comments, but it comes in at number 17 on my list. Coming in at number 16 is Captain America, the First Avenger. I love the backdrop of World War II. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Hydra and the Red Skull are actually pretty good villains. And overall, it's just a nice origin story. We get nice Bucky and Steve moments. I mean, Steve coming out as Captain America is one of the best, most iconic moments in the MCU. Now, I don't love everything about Hydra. I think Red Skull is a underused, kind of weak villain, and all he had to do was touch the, I think, Space Stone it was, and then he was just gave up and was gone. But we're looking at it in terms of it is an origin story for Captain America. I enjoyed it, and it comes in at number 16 on my list. Coming in at number 15 is Avengers Age of Ultron. I love Ultron as a villain. I do think he's underused. I do not think that he was brought to his full potential. I think James Spader gives a fantastic performance, but again, I think he was a little underused, and that's one of the main reasons why it is as low on the list as it is. But you've got some great Avengers action. I love the power struggle. I love that we see that there are cracks in the armor of this team. They're not a perfect team whatsoever, and obviously that comes to fruition down the line, but I like that dynamic. We get Scarlet Witch and we get Quicksilver introduced into the MCU, as well as Vision. We get our two characters from WandaVision introduced in this film. And yeah, it's got some good moments. I think they were trying to do more than they could handle. The first Avengers is so great because of how simple it is, but we'll get to that later. But they were trying to do a little bit too much here, I think, and I think they overstuffed the plot and the writing. But overall, it's got some really memorable moments, got some nice new characters. It comes in at number 15 on my list. Coming in at number 14 is Doctor Strange. This one is one that always kind of teeters up and down my list because I never really know how I feel about it. I love the magic aspects. I also think Benedict Cumberbatch is fantastic as Stephen Strange, and I love Benedict Wong as Wong. I'm not completely sold on the villains. I don't think they are the strongest, but I love the origin here, though. I love the origin of Doctor Strange. I love this mythology and world building because up until this point, we hadn't really had anything like this before. This was the first time we were learning about the side of magic in the MCU, and I really, really like that. Obviously, the cinematography and the CGI both are breathtaking. Some of the scenes, I don't even know how they did it, but Overall, this is a relatively nice film that has grown on me over time. I used to not like it as much as I do now, and it definitely has grown on me. And it comes in number 14 on my list. Coming in at number 13 is Iron Man 3. Y'all, this is a hot take, but I do not care. I love this movie, and it is by far a Christmas movie, and you cannot tell me any different. I love this movie from the fact that it is about Iron Man and Tony Stark outside of the suit. Because all this time, Tony Stark has been able to have his suits, and he's been able to live through his suits, and they have been the thing that has made him successful in this superhero stuff. This film, you take the man out of the suit, and he has to figure it out on his own. And I love that dynamic. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Again, RDJ gives another fantastic performance. Now, yes, the Mandarin twist, I get it. But honestly, for me, I wasn't a big comic reader, so I didn't really know. So I was fine with it. I thought it was funny. So that doesn't knock it down for me as much as it does for some other people. Now, yeah, the villain's not fantastic, but it's not about the villain. The villain for Tony Stark in this film is himself. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. And for that, I love it. And it comes in at number 13 on my list. Coming in at number 12 is Black Panther. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Rip to the king. This film is another great origin story that deals with family, legacy, and all of these other great themes. And Chadwick is a great T'Challa. I don't think you'll be able to find anyone that is as good as he is. And Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger is a great villain. He is. And this deals with a lot of really heavy themes. I think they handle them really, really well. Fantastic action sequences. I love the tech in this movie. I think Shuri's awesome, and it's a fun but important movie. It's a very important film in the MCU, and I love Wakanda. And the score by Ludwig Göransson, absolutely fantastic. But Wakanda as a character and all that takes place there, and the traditions and all of that is fantastic. And this film is damn good. And I enjoy it, and it comes in at number 12 on my list. Coming in at number 11 is Thor Ragnarok. Funny movie, great direction by Taika Waititi. God, we had the first two Thor films were in my bottom 5, and this one's all the way up at 11. It's an upgrade. I love the additions of Valkyrie and then bringing in Hulk, as well as bringing Loki back and having Thor. I mean, I think they're called the Revengers. That's absolutely hilarious. This is another example of like an Iron Man 3, where you take the thing that is helping our hero and you take it away from them. In this instance, it's Mjolnir. And they have to figure it out on their own. That's what I love about this film. I love it more than Iron Man 3 because it's funny, and it's got some nice character moments, and it's got a better villain. Hela is top 5, I would say, villain in the MCU. So there's just so much to say about this film. I could continue to gush about it. It's absolutely fantastic, and it comes in at number 11 on my list. And coming in at number 10, ladies and gentlemen, is WandaVision. It cracked my top 10. There is a lot to love about this film, the series, not film, but you know what I'm saying. There's a lot to love about this project. Fantastic acting from both Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, as well as Catherine Hahn, and the entire supporting cast is really good as well. There is some really nice writing in here that deals with the mythology of this magic, more world building, and some of the best emotion in all of the MCU and character development for Wanda. It's absolutely stunning. For a TV show, it needed more time. You guys know that I am not the biggest fan of the pacing, but in the grand scheme of the show itself, it is a fantastic addition to the MCU. And it has bridged the gap to a lot of projects that are coming up. And I am very excited to see where Wanda and Vision end up next. It's such a great project. I really enjoyed my entire time watching it. And it comes in at number 10 on my list. Coming in at number 9 is SpiderMan Homecoming. You've got one of the best scenes in all of the MCU when we find out that Peter's date to Homecoming's dad is our villain Vulture. That is one of the best reveals. I just love it. Michael Keaton is fantastic as the Vulture. one of the best villains in the MCU. Great coming of age origin story for Peter Parker. Seen him go through high school and then try to be Spider-Man, and then also trying to, be an Avenger, which he's not, but he wants to be. And it's a great story. Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. You can fight me on this Spider-Man Twitter. I don't care. I'm going to die on that hill. He's the best rendition of Spider-Man that we've had. And it's just a lot of fun. And you got Tony Stark as the mentor in this film. And I love that dynamic that they have. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And it comes in at number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8 is Spider-Man Far From Home. This is a very nice epilogue to the Infinity Saga and Endgame. We get to see where our heroes end up. We get to see the tributes and everything for Tony and all of the other heroes that we lost in Infinity War and Endgame. And it's just a nice, I don't want to say palate cleanser because it's not, but just nice ending to Phase 3. Peter trying to get through, is he the next Iron Man? What is his role in all of this? I really like that dynamic. And then we've got the brilliant Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, one of the best villains in the MCU. There's a lot really good about this film. You've got some fantastic action sequences. It's a nice globe-trotting story, which I really enjoy because we didn't really do a lot of globe-trotting in the other movies. So I like that dynamic as well. I had a lot of fun with this one. I know a lot of people hate this film. Okay, fine, but I really enjoyed it. It's got some of the best emotion of any of them as well. And the Happy and Peter dynamic is one of my favorites in the MCU. But it comes in number 8 on my list. Coming in at number 7 is the original Iron Man, the film that started it all. It's classic. It's a brilliant origin story for a character that not a lot of people knew about. He was like a B-tier superhero, but you got fantastic writing, all the stuff in the cave with Jensen, don't waste your life. And oh my God, how that came back all the way in Endgame. Just absolutely brilliant. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. No one will ever replace him. No one will ever do it better. It's not happening. You've got a nice, concise story. It's not too big. The weight of the world isn't on his shoulders. It's a very small-scale story, which I really enjoyed. And of course, I gotta end it with this. I Am Iron Man. And it comes at number 7 on my list. Coming in number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy. This film has also grown on me. I mean, I loved it when I first saw it, but not to the point that I do now. It's a brilliant movie. Amazing origin story for a band of misfit characters that not a lot of people had ever heard of. You've got great castings in here, especially Peter Quill as Star-Lord. A banging soundtrack. And this is the introduction to the cosmic realm of the MCU. We had a little bit of it in the Thor movies, but not to this point. We were in it, and I loved that. I think it's a funny movie. This is the first real funny movie in the MCU. I'd say maybe Ant-Man competes with that, but I'm pretty sure Guardians came out before Ant-Man. Yes, it did. And it's just a fun time. I love this movie, and it comes in number 6 on my list. Coming in at number 5 is the Avengers classic. It absolutely is. And I said this a little bit when I was talking about Age of Ultron. The thing I love about it is how small the story is. It's not difficult to understand. It's not difficult to follow, which gives us character moments with these characters for the first time, which makes it special because no one had really done anything like this before. It was unprecedented. And then you've got the climactic battle in New York, which has some of still the best moments in the MCU. I love this movie. It is an absolute classic. I will love it forever. And it comes in at number 5 on my list. Well, the top 4 are all Russo brother movies, as if that was a surprise. Coming in at number 4 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This is the first film that I can remember, and I'd have to do a rewatch of the movies to really figure it out, but this is kind of the first film that I remember that really pushed the table when it came to genre. It's a completely different genre. It is a political espionage spy thriller, which is fantastic. It's dealing with the government and corruption within the government and S.H.I.E.L.D., and I love that. I love it because it's fresh, it's unique, it's not the same thing in every film. And you get, Captain America with the dilemma of, I've been serving all my life. Do I follow the government that I should be following? Or even are they wrong? And that is something that I love. You've got fantastic moments. You've got the elevator fight scene, which is one of the best moments in all of the MCU. It's absolutely iconic. You've got the addition of Sam Wilson as Falcon. You've also got Sharon Carter. And you've got Black Widow in here as well. And on top of that, you got Bucky, but he's the villain. He's a great villain. As well as Robert Redford is in here as a villain as well. I love this film. I think it is one that really pushed the MCU forward in all of the right ways. And it comes in number 4 on my list. Coming in number 3 is Captain America Civil War. This is the one that did it, y'all. This is the one that broke up the Avengers. And it was a good time. It was a good time. You got some brilliant action sequences, whether it's the chase between Black Panther and I believe Captain America is there as well, and Bucky and Falcon, or it's the airport scene, which is iconic at this point. This film is written so well because you can understand both sides pretty clearly, and you don't know which one's right. That's the thing I love about this film, is that it tests friendships to the brink. It talks about secrets and lies and how much they can hurt the people that you do them to. And the end is heartbreaking and emotional. I would talk more about it, but I absolutely love this film. And it comes in at number 3 on my list. Coming in at number 2 is Avengers Infinity War. The film we were all waiting for, the film that was going to cross every character in the MCU over, and they did it to perfection. I love the pairings of this film. And you listen to some of the commentary from the Russo brothers, and they said the pairings were really important. We wanted to get the pairings right. And they worked well. Rocket and Groot with Thor. You've got the Guardians with Iron Man and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. You've got Captain America with everyone in Wakanda, and you got Vision and Scarlet Witch. I mean, it's great because we are seeing the consequences of Civil War here, firsthand. If it wasn't for Civil War and they were all together, they may have had a fighting chance. They might have. And it's just a brilliant culmination to this huge story that we had been teased with Thanos. Thanos is the best villain in the MCU. And this is his story. And I love it because you kind of understand where he's coming from. That's a good villain. A villain you can kind of understand. It's a good villain. And I love it. This film is absolutely amazing. This is like one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. It was the first time I had ever been in a packed house in a theater and had an experience like that. It was absolutely amazing. And it comes in number 2 on my list. But coming in at number 1, I mean, isn't it obvious? It's my favorite movie of all time. It's Avengers Endgame. This is the culmination. 23 films over 11 years. This was it. This was it. This was the end of this Infinity Saga, and it was as great as you could expect it to be. Now I get it. Some of the time travel stuff's not great. Some of the writing might not be fantastic, but I don't care. We get the nostalgia. We get to go back to some awesome moments. We get great moments. Cap versus Cap. Tony with his dad. Great character moments, some emotional moments that I love. And then, I mean, the third act. The third act is one of the greatest things I've ever watched in my entire life. What do you want me to say? It's got some of the best moments. Cap wielding Mjolnir. On your left, the portal scene. I mean, all of that. It's just amazing. And it was worth it. We waited this long, and it was worth it, and it worked. It's very hard to stick a landing on a finale. Very hard. And this one did. It did. It stuck it. And no matter how much I hate that my favorite character, Tony Stark, is gone and dead, no matter how much I hate that, I love this film. I love it. And it comes in number 1 on my list. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments what's your favorite MCU movie. Where did WandaVision end up in your ranking? Let me know down below in the comments. But guys, that is pretty much it. Make sure to go check out my website, fanaticfilmreview.com, for film reviews, rankings, all of that awesome, spicy, written content that you could ever want. Go over to my Twitter and my Letterboxd to get immediate reactions to 2021 movies when they come out. And the last thing I gotta say is, if you enjoyed, please consider dropping a subscription. It really does mean the absolute world. Guys, that is pretty much it. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video.